Welcome back to 2023 Media Days. One of the teams that have joined the Big 12 this year, UCF, last 10 seasons with the American. During that stretch, 86-41 record within that conference, winning 4 American titles and 10 bowl bids in the last 11 seasons. And the man at the helm of the Knights, Gus Malzahn, joining us now. Coach, appreciate you taking some time up here. When you look at what joining the Big 12 does for your team, for your program as a whole, can you kind of walk us through what exactly this means for your program?
It's a huge moment. Thinking about all the players that helped us get here, all the coaches, all the boosters, it's a huge moment for us. And just real blessed to be the head coach here and looking forward to being a part of the Big 12.
We knew when you took that job, UCF was a good job. Yeah. Did you have any idea that this was on the horizon? Was that part of maybe what you hoped for?
I felt pretty strong when Terry hired me that we were going to be a part of a Power 5 conference. Just didn't know it was going to be the Big 12. And, of course, I was born here in Irving, so it's real exciting for me, to be a part of the Big 12. I think it's a great fit for us. Right now we're the only team in Florida, and it's a great place to recruit. And it's really changed the landscape for us recruiting. And so we're in a really good spot right now.
You talked and spoke, you're on record as saying that looking from the outside in at UCF, you thought it was a sleeping giant.
Yeah.
How much does being a part of the Big 12 help to really elevate that sleeping giant?
Yeah, it's a game changer. We're in Orlando, one of the best places in the country to live. The best brands in the world are there. There's no NFL team. And so the sky's the limit as far as potential. We're the biggest school or one of the biggest enrollments in the country. So everything is set up. And they played great football before we got here. I mean, we can't forget that. They've won 2 out of the last 3 New Year's 6 bowl games the last 9 years. So we inherited a program that was already top-notch, and now we're set up, I really believe, to take that next step.
You had a quote about trying to be part of the Big Four, that you guys should be considered along with the Miamis, the Floridas, the Florida States in that state. How have you seen recruiting change and being able to get players from within that state now that you're part of a Power 5 conference?
Well, that's exactly who we compete against, the other 3 teams in our state for recruits. The last 2 years, back-to-back, we've had the best recruiting classes in the history of the school. And now I really feel like we're fixing to blow the top off that. So things are going very well, but a lot of it has to do with this conference.
Are you starting to see and reap the benefits of being in the Big 12 or being able to sit down with recruits and say, hey, we're in a Power 5 conference, come on.
100%. It's opened the door. When we first got there, we'd recruit the guys, but we knew they were going to go somewhere else, and we're going to try to get them on the back end, which we've already done that, quite a bit of that. But now we're in the game with the top guys. You're really in the country, specifically in the state of Florida.
Let's talk about this team this year. You guys coming into the league. You got a new offensive coordinator. Chip Lindsey departs. You bring in Darren Henshaw, a guy that knows all about UCF. Yeah. He's one of the ones that laid that foundation. What does he bring to the table, and how much do you think he could potentially bolster what John Rice does as a thrower?
Well, he's already done a great job with John Rice as far as development and mechanics, and I brought him in to do that, and really to push the ball down the field. I mean, we were a top 20 offense in the country, but our average yards per completion was really low, like 88. So really, I brought him in. We're going to push the ball down the field. Just like you said, he's one of the all-time greats at UCF. He loves it, and he is a super person, so I think he's a really good fit for us.
And he's going to call plays, correct?
Yeah.
Can you walk me through the mindset of just everything that you're having to deal with, NIL, transfer portal, everything that's on your plate, and the decision to finally give it up?
Yeah, I get that question a lot. Okay, I know that didn't surprise you.
We know how much you enjoy calling plays.
But I will. This is really the first time that it was all my decision and not getting encouraged and all that. We're in a new age of college football, and the demands of the NIL, fundraising, and just the transfer portal, making quick decisions on recruits. I don't know how moving forward guys are going to do it. Now, I know there's a handful of guys that still do it. They do it really well, but it's a real challenge right now.
Yeah.
You guys are asked to do more, pulled in more directions than ever before. Your quarterback, John Rice Plumley, one of the best athletes in all of college football. Yeah. What he did on that spring game day, home run, coming in and playing for you. How do you keep him healthy, though? Because he's a dynamic runner. It's a weapon. He's, got to be more consistent as a thrower. But there's a difference when he's healthy and he's not. How do you keep him healthy?
Yeah, that's the key. He can't be our leading rusher, okay? We ran him too much. You got to keep in mind, he didn't play quarterback for a year and a half before last year. He was learning as we were playing games. And then he hit a stride and started playing a high level. And if he hadn't got hurt, we'd have finished really, really well. But he is a complete different quarterback right now than he was. It's like night and day. So I'm very excited. When we've had a chance to win championships and play for national championship, we've had quarterbacks with his skill set, and I feel really good about where he's at right now.
What type of message did it send to your program? That's that day of the spring game where he plays a baseball game and then all of a sudden he comes back. That's got to be, from a leadership standpoint, sending a powerful message.
You're exactly right. And he did that all spring. He only missed one spring practice of the 15, and that's because a game got rained out and he was in East Carolina, or he made 15. So his commitment, he never missed a day. He brought his A game. He brought energy every day, and the players just love his leadership.
We got a picture of him in his baseball uniform. What was the conversation like with him when you brought him in and he says, hey, I want to do both? And you're like, well, that's going to be challenging.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, I recruited him in high school, all right? I recruited Bo Nix. So I was trying to get them both. Yeah. It went down then. We came close. He was going to play baseball then. We were going to let him. So when he went in the portal, it was just a natural thing. And, hey, he did a great job playing baseball, but it didn't let up any on the football end.
Tell me about his pass catchers. You got a couple of good ones back. Javon Baker was great last year. Kobe Hudson as well.
Yeah, those two guys, were SEC receivers playing at a high level before we got them. And they got a chance to be as good as any in the country, I think. And the fact that we're making the emphasis on pushing the ball down the field, like I said earlier, I think that's going to be a game changer for us.
We talked a lot of offense, obviously, with your background, and you got an offensive guy sitting here, but talk a little bit on the defensive side for this guy a little bit and tell us what you have coming back on that side.
Our defensive front, we feel really good. That's where it really is all about. Putting more pressure on the quarterback. That's been our emphasis. Addison Williams, my new defensive coordinator, he was with me at Auburn in 2019. He's doing a great job, and we think we'll be much improved on the defensive side this year.
With so many new opponents on the schedule this year, being a part of the Big 12, you got to go to Kansas State, Oklahoma, Texas Tech. How much do you start prepping now for what you're going to see of those teams? How do you approach the schedule?
You can kind of take a day or two during the summer. Kansas State's our first one, and that's what you kind of focus on from a conference standpoint. And I have been to Kansas State, okay? I think 2014 we were the number 2 team in the country at Auburn. We went there. We barely got out of there alive. So I know that's a tough place. But we're focusing on that. We have Baylor as our first home Big 12 game. I mean, we'll have our hands full with those guys. But you focus on the first 3 before you get there. But as far as conference, that's the 2 that we've been working on this summer.
What were your thoughts about the conference before UCF was announced that you guys were going to be moving into the Big 12? But maybe your thoughts as a coach from the outside looking in.
Yeah, you got to score points. I mean, it's a great offensive league, and you look at the top to bottom. I mean, it's deep. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no off weeks like any other conference, really, for that matter. Mm-hmm. So I think we're probably the only conference really in Power 5 that there's no off weeks. And so you got to bring your lunch every day.
Gear it up every single week, which is what I was going to ask you. Depth. Yep. That may be one of the places that I think all of you guys coming in from whether it's BYU Independent or the American, as that schedule grinds on back half the season, how difficult is that to manage, just making sure you've got enough depth to make it through that gauntlet?
We've had enough time to prepare. We've known we were coming in the league for over a year. You have to have quality depth on the offensive line and the defensive line to have a chance when you move up. And we've been working really hard, and I feel really good today telling you going into fall camp that we're going to have quality depth on both sides of the football. And really that's the key, I think, to moving up a level and having a chance to win a championship.
Have we found Waffle House in Orlando?
There's a few. First Watch, one of our biggest donors, owns First Watch, so I'm doing a lot of healthy eating at First Watch.
There you go.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Coach, we appreciate the time coming off a fantastic season a year ago. Welcome to the Big 12. We're excited to watch you this season.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Coach.
Gus Malzahn, we'll hear from some of his players. Hannah's going to interview a few of them when we get back here to Arlington. It's 2023 Media Days from AT&T Stadium.